Cyclocross friends, and thanks for tuning in to episode 351 of Cyclocross Radio. We're going to recap everything that went on last weekend at Charm City, which was round 3 of the Trek USCX series. And then we have some Instagram questions that we're going to answer. We got some really cool interviews that we're going to play, and then we're going to get the heck out of here. Recording a little bit later than we usually do, and actually heading off to Wisconsin in the next 24 hours. So very, very condensed schedule for us. So we want to get right into it. But before we do, just want to make sure that you know that our deal with Hammerhead is still going on. So if you've listened to the show before, if you're listening new, this is going to be the condensed version. You can, if you get a new Karoo cycling computer, which you should, you can get a heart rate monitor, which is an integral part of that system, on us for free. Normally, there's a charge for that. If you are listening to this and you use the code CX Radio, you will get that heart rate monitor for free. So what you need to do is go check out everything about the Karoo at hammerhead.io. And once you're convinced that you're getting the best cycling computer out there, put that into your basket, then head over to the heart rate section and add one of those heart rate monitors to your basket as well, and then check out. And when you check out, where it says code, coupon, whatever it may, the little box there, you just put in there CX Radio, CXRADIO, all one word, even though it's not a word, CX Radio. And then when you check out, that the cost of the heart rate monitor is going to come off, and you're going to be out there riding around knowing what all your zones are. So hammerhead.io, CX Radio is the code. Other than that, please, we're going to talk about it. Go to CX TV, which is cyclocrosstv.com. Go check out everything that we spent a lot of time. Look, Christian at Goldenrod Designs has spent a lot of time. He's been crushing it, setting up that website, making sure that the series standings are up to date, making sure that all the results there, all the cool graphics that we use and the videos and everything else are from Goldenrod Design. So, just go there, check out all the work that's going in. If you go to cxhairs.com, you can get the calendar and everything else as well. I think that's it. So let's get started. It is episode 351 of Cyclocross Radio. Bodie's here. I'm here. We're talking about Charm City and also Trek, and we're doing that right now. Bodie, I just speed ran that intro.
I was thinking, I feel like you haven't said, we're back in the media pit. I've missed that.
Well, I think that's because now that we're just like condensing it all into one. I used to like do those intros before, pre-video days. The intro would come after we recorded, and then, but to say hi to you, I have to tell you that we're back because you may not know.
Yeah. No. I feel like we have been.
We've been back,
but we have been very media pity. We have. I just thinking about the way that we get wherever to our lodgings is, and we flop out. We're just like equipment everywhere, laptops open, running proxies, trying to shovel food in our mouth, and we got snacks, and it is a media pit.
Yes, and, it is a media pit.
It has been pretty. It's been quite an adventure.
It's almost like for these, we've climbed out of the media pit.
Yeah. Also, almost feels like there is no weekend. It's all like one continuous thing. It's like Thursday, and I'm like, oh god, the week's almost over. But like, I feel like there never was a beginning to the week. It's just cross all the time.
It is cross all the time, and it's tough. But this is not a media pity party, so we signed up for it. This is like morning. This is like morning energy.
I know. No, we're recording in the mornings, which I like. I had to delay this by 15 minutes because my allergies have been killing me all since August, and so I'm hopped up on all the allergy meds and the caffeine, and I'm ready to talk about Charm City, which as everyone said, it was a charm. It was great. I love being in Baltimore. I'll say it again. I can't wait to actually go back to Baltimore and not just go to Druid Hill Park and just take what is a Monroe into town. And that's kind of the only part I see. Maybe not the best, entrance into the city, but everybody there, the promoters, the fans, it's great to see him again, and I just feel like they do a really good job. I like I've said this last year, but I really like this. You know, it's in the middle of the city. It's in this great park. We're getting YouTube comments that they used to do training races there in the '90s, and I was like, I want to hear more. But I feel like there's a lot of history there, obviously with the city, with the event, and I think it shows in sort of the production value and the team and just the fans that come out and just have a good time. And yeah, I just Charma is always gets me, and I really enjoy being there. So shout out to all those guys. I know they do a lot of hard work, and shout out to the fans who come down. And we got some questions about the vibe. I thought it was really good. I think that it's a pretty spread out. I mean, I say spread out, but like there is a lot of features, and you have people all over the place, and so maybe in some of the footage it didn't seem like there was a lot of folks there, but I felt that there was a lot of good energy with the fans and sort of what we found out this year is that fans congregate in the shade because it was hot again, and so that's where everybody hides out. They're not out in the middle of the infield in the baking sun.
Yeah, especially on Sunday. We got a little
God,
little. It was a little overcast on Saturday. We even had a little bit of rain during the men's race, which was nice. Nothing too not like a big downpour or anything, but at least it was cool, and it was like even. It wasn't. And then, man, we got up there Sunday morning, and I was like, oh boy,
yeah,
summer is back.
We were like, we were like dying before the race started, and then we got it up and we got into it. But
I think even someone was like, it came up to you and was like, well, you're used to this, you're from the New Orleans, and you're like, no, it doesn't matter.
The thing is, like, yeah, exactly, it's still hot in New Orleans, and then when it's hot like that, you're inside, you're not outside at 12 o'clock. The rain, the overcast on Saturday was nice. Just even from like my perspective, you have even light everywhere, so it's kind of easier when you're shooting. It also just kind of makes it looks slightly different. Got a little freaked out that it was going to rain too much on my camera. Shout out to Bruce who lent me a little lens condom
baggie
that I used for the first lap or so, just because I was a little scared, but it didn't stop. But it was fun to have a little bit of different sort of like conditions, and I don't know, that might have been a factor in the men's race at least. We'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, should we get right into the women's day one?
Yeah. What we had day one. Okay, this is always a problem, Bodie, so you're going to have to help me out. Was the drama in the race day one or day two? Day two. So what happened day one?
Well, I don't know. You edited that video, Bill. So I think day this is the thing that people might think is crazy, is that we sit there, we watch all this footage, but we do split up the videos. I edit the men because of our workflow. Bill edits the women to get that out first, and we forget. Just like that. Yeah. It goes in and out of our heads. But day one was, if I'm remembering correctly, and I'll put this to you, maybe you'll remind, is that Magali sort of like sat in a little bit and then just kind of eventually just kind of did little attacks and just kind of slowly just, broke free. And I think she just took off. And that was sort of the story on day one for Magali.
Yeah. So, and again, it was Magali, it was Manenbacher up there, it was Sid was up there, and I think not doing here's what I would say. If you want to see the recap on it, and I can go and refresh my memories, we should just watch the video and see what happened. But I think the cool thing for day one that's worth talking about, or we can actually talk to, is Nico Knoll.
Yes.
I think that our first introduction to Nico this season was her wiping out in the first turn of Rochester. Yeah. And we're like, oops. And she fought her way back into the race there. And then since that time has been a factor in these races, at least in the top five. I think on we didn't get a chance to catch up with her after Sunday, but a little farther back, but still high up there in the top 10. I think she was like 6 or 7, somewhere around there for day two. Can check my accuracy on that.
They do 7th.
Yeah, seventh, but still, just really cool to see some new riders out there, and it's the thing that you were talking about a few weeks ago, where like, hey, it was cool last year that I was able to get out there, when we were doing the IG coverage, that you were able to see all the juniors and see those races, and now that they've graduated into the U23s and are racing with the elites, you're like, I know that name, I know that person, I know that she's capable of putting in good races, and that's what we saw with her.
Yeah, I think on day one, so really the story was, I think she went out early, and I think she was at the front, and she was sort of pushing that pace, while Magali was sort of sitting back and trying to do a little group, not burning it all at the beginning. We had Nico Knoll able to go to the front, didn't crash, stayed upright, and was pushing the pace really hard. And I talked to Raylan day two, and I was like, hey, really cool to see Nico Knoll. I'm glad we got to talk to her. And she was Raylan was very stoked about having Nico on her team, and was excited to have, Steve Stilford Foundation back. And so I was like, I love the energy that Nico is bringing, because, with Tofik and sort of these other younger guys, like a lot of exuberance, right? Sort of not a ton of experience, but that energy, that willingness to sort of like push the tape, push the edge a little bit and go for it. And that sort of makes guys like Carrie and Magali like, all right, like I've got a new challenger. I need to prepare for this and battle against this rider. And so it, like I said, it brings more energy into the field, and it offers some excitement.
Well, and if you go watch Kerry Werner's vlog, you know that you talk about like some new energy and a new nemesis, though. So Nico now has stepped up to be Carolyn Manny's nemesis, because she's got this, she needs to get to that, like seven hole shot wins.
Yeah, she wants to get. Yeah, well, yeah, okay. So we'll have 8 races, so she must have missed one of them. But yeah,
well, she got beat. They won a charm by Nico in the whole shot, and then she got her on day 2, which was, if you see, go watch Carrie's vlog as well as all of our stuff. But it's kind of funny because she's coming around that first turn. I mean, they are flying. They're like top speed coming around that first turn, and she's like giving Carrie the 5 signal that she got that whole shot.
I was like, are you trying hard enough? I know Manny is experienced enough to go that hard and still give a 5. But yeah, it is pretty funny to have that sort of in race sort of like meta, like, I'm racing.
I mean,
but also...
and that's kind of the thing, we'll get into it. We got some questions about like vibes and stuff, but that's the kind of stuff that is there. It exists. Yeah. It's there, and it's still fun, and it's still exciting to follow these stories. But we were talking about Nico before we kind of veer off of that storyline. Let's listen to our interview with her after Saturday's race. All right, Nico, we're at Charm City, but I just want to go back to Rochester. You're like the whole shot queen, but first race out there didn't really start out, I'm sure, the way you wanted it to go. How have you just like sort of kept it positive and gone on from there?
Well, I don't crash, like knock on wood, but I just clipped my pedal, and it was just like once in a million that I would do that. Unfortunately, it was my first elite race. It was the first corner, so it kind of sucks. But honestly, they can be mad that I messed up their race, but I'm just so happy nobody crashed because of me. So I'm not really I'm fine with it. Everybody crashes, so.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's mad. I was just more speaking on your performance, because even from there, you were able to fight your way back. And then second day there, and then first day here at Charm City, coming from juniors to elites, you're really just right in the mix. Did you expect to be there?
Partially, yeah. I'm expecting a little bit more. I'm not feeling my best right now. I'm happy how I did, because I did great today, and I'm not my very best right now, so I'm happy about that, and I just can't wait to see what I can do in the coming races too, when I feel maybe a bit more on top of it too. So
does it have anything to do just with the length of the races, coming from juniors, and that that extra 10 or 15 minutes at the end of the day?
I'm not sure it does. I've been racing in Alberta, 50 minutes typically. 40 to 50 minutes, I'd say, is very loose. But yeah, I'm not sure the length is particularly the big thing. I think I'm just coming off a mountain bike season, so I'm getting back into cyclocross now. So
Yeah, coming off mountain bikes, a completely different bike, and then today new bike as well. How was it just like getting on that bike fresh and doing a race?
it was a lot better than the size 49 I was on last weekend. It's my size. I was so happy to race last weekend, so I'm not complaining at all. But these bikes are crazy. Like second day riding it, and I'm already like I feel pretty good on it. It's awesome.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, and we're excited to see you for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so really cool to hear from Nico. I like that she just has a lot of confidence. Like I said earlier, the exuberance, and I think that's important. You sort of have to have some blind faith. You have to have that confidence to sort of ride at this level. I also want to shout out the Steve Tilford Foundation. Go to their Instagram page. They put out a little video they did together of Nico and Raylan riding at the bike park and hopping up steps. It's just fun, and like talking about the vibes and the good energy. Like it's cool to see that stuff coming out. So yeah, like I said, really cool to hear from Nico. And I'm gonna say it here. Now we're committed. We're gonna try and cut together a little like rider spotlight videos. So we'll put some of these interviews also out on YouTube with some B-roll.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else from the women's racing? Let's actually take a quick look here at the what's going on with the series standings for the women. I think this is one that is it over yet, Bodie? That's the question.
So I think
no is the answer.
You think no?
Well, here, I mean, Mannebacker still can win, right? I mean, let's say
40
Rochette
points behind.
Let's say Rochette DNFs or whatever. If something happens, if she doesn't,
that's the situation we're at. We're like, if Magali has two really bad days and finishes way back, or gets you get 1 point for starting, then yeah, Monin can win this. But there's a 40-point gap between Magali and Monin right now headed into Trek. So if, as you say, they hold serve.
Well, I think interestingly, there's a 38-point, which is important only because that's the amount of points for second place on day one.
Okay.
So that's your gap. Your gap is a second place.
Yeah, so it's not over. Anything can happen.
It's not over. Yeah.
Looking back at the rest of the field, I mean, I think it's we have smaller gaps, but it's kind of that similar situations. It's tighter in the men's, and we'll talk about it in a bit. But I think that if everybody sort of rides to where they expect to ride, or even if they overperform a place or two, I think it's going to finish out with Mag, Bacher, and McGill, M's folks.
So here's the interesting one, because we just talked to Nico. So Nico and Raylan both. So yeah, you were talking about the Steve Tilford Foundation team. They did not race at GoCross, and they are both in the top 10 with basically giving the field a 2-race head start. So no points for them in the first two. So you could. That's where you could really see a reshuffling of that top 10.
Yeah.
But then you have people, Mid-Atlantic fast woman, Chelsea Richwine, who's in 7th place, has raced everything, has been consistent. That's the cool thing about the USCX too. Like if you're consistent, if you're in that top 10, you're going to do well. And there's money on the line for that series also. So we're going to see. It's going to be interesting to see who shows up. I guess we got the start list for Wisconsin. Seeing if all these folks are going to show up. But so far, Magali has won 5 of 6. Manon has won that Rochester day 1. So that's the only non-win for Rochette. So we got two more races in there for.
Yeah. And I think that's worth mentioning. Sort of Magali lost in Rochester. She crashed, and we've seen issues in the men's races where the winners go back and forth because of incidents. And so it's like that is the part about cross that is pretty cool, is that you do have it's like, okay, it's not necessarily an exercise contest. It's not just the strongest person goes out there and win. The gear, the elements, the other riders are all a factor in that race, and that is part of it. So luck is also part of the game, and it's I don't think those are like excuses. Like that's just how it goes, and so you have to be ready for those. And sort of that's sort of like also I was thinking about how that like your team has to be dialed, right? So how cyclocross is sort of, it's a solo, you're individually racing out there, but then you have your mechanics and your soigneurs who are also sometimes just the same person, but like having that part of the game dialed, right? And so it's the whole squad that has to come together and be on point on that day.
Here's my question, which I don't know the answer for, and I'm trying to look through the tech guide right now. I don't think it's the case. What do you think if there were double points for the last round?
I mean, I love double points in the last round for any sort of thing. I think so. If you do, it's like, do you do double points? But it's like, do you also like you have to be at every race to get double? I don't know. Like I feel like there's like you could just show up the end and double points and move up the leaderboard. Is that fair to riders who've been there the entire time? I know sometimes they'll series will have drop races, but like you have to be at the last stage to win. I mean, so there's sort of ways to sort of incentivize being there the entire time, but also
so like a sliding scale for double points.
I don't know. Maybe that's too complicated,
or maybe you just get single points. I mean, yeah, but that would definitely make the front more exciting.
The front, as in
like the McGill, Bacher, right. Rochette.
Yeah,
it could all come back together. They did spread it out from the beginning. Beginning, the points were much closer because I remember that Magley dominated but lost the series, and it just even though I forget what the players were in there, but I know that was a criticism, and the series is always looking to improve. So I know that they kind of reconfigured the points to make sure that there was a little more of a gap between.
We could also talk last year about them just awarding the same points on both days, which they didn't. They did the sliding scale for C1 versus C2.
Yeah. Which I thought that they were going to do the same points for both days.
But they did not, yeah.
They did not. I still think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so too, because I don't know anybody who didn't race on Sunday right. because it was a C2. It's just like the pay's more, obviously, on C1 day, but like, yeah, why not make
the pay's more, the points for your UCI standings are more, but that
doesn't affect the series, right?
Right. As far as the series goes, it shouldn't be. The only thing you're doing is sending the message that Sunday isn't as important as Saturday.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's, some people race better on day 2 than they do on day 1. And there are people out there that really would like the, U.S. cyclocross that for whatever reason is C1 Saturday, C2 Sunday always. It doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
It could be C2, C1. And there are people who race better on Sunday than Saturday, but they kind of never get, they kind of get hurt by
They don't
that.
get awarded for that.
Yeah. It's in the same way, just as a kind of like cyclocross rules nerd thing, that the USCX and most of the UCI races in the US are not following the rules as far as their schedule goes. So there's an official protocol for how you're supposed to run your UCI races. And the first UCI race of the day is supposed to be the junior men, and then the junior women, and then the elite women, and then the elite men. That is in the rules. That is a part 5 in the rules. That's how.
So are they getting dispensation? Is that the?
I just don't think anybody cared to look, and nobody cares to check. It's just because it's you're looking at it, and it's like, well, if we're doing elite women, elite men, of course you do junior men, junior women, but that's not the case.
Do they also have a rule that they have to be their own field? So like yes. Junior men and junior women are
they can't be they are standalone races. And it used to be only the junior men was the only standalone race, and the junior women raced with. And I think now that you can I think it ends this year. I shouldn't say they're not following the rules, and then I don't really know the rules. I need to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure that now, there were a couple years where the junior women were kind of being worked into being a required field, and I think we're now at that point where it is required.
All right.
It's still the U23s. You don't have to have like a separate field. They can be worked into the other, which is, I'm fine with that. Because especially in these US, if you're in Europe and you have a full day and you have no amateur races, and I know they like running they don't even want to run 4 races. They just want to run 3 and or 2. So having to do those juniors is extra, and most of them don't want to do the separate U23s. But for what we do in the US, as far as putting on races with 13 categories a day or whatever it is, like it should be an easy pull for them. But yeah, there's no way, especially this time of year with the days getting shorter, that we could have standalone U23 races, or it'd be taking even more time away from the amateur fields that we don't want to do, because that's
right.
That's
but also, like
U23
is like, I mean, they award that in the elite races in the USCX series of U23 category. But like also so many riders, we see in road cycling, like you're 19, you're 20, you're at the top of the game. Like look at Tade and Isaac Del Toro and all these riders, Remco, very young, on a world tour team. I mean, I just think that the U23 is sort of maybe doesn't make sense as a category as much anymore. I think maybe for world championships, sure, nationals, sure, like sort of the bigger events. But yeah,
it's the thing we joke about in nationals every year, that the U20 the elites get a break because X rider has to race, is racing in the U23s. And now we've gotten to the point where that just doesn't, they just ask for permission to race up. That's what we saw with Vita last year, right?
Yeah.
And it, she made the right call. All right.
Women Day 2.
Women Day 2.
That's where we had some drama.
We did have some drama.
Which
we had I think what we learned after the race. So Magley got a flat. Magley got a flat on lap 2.
I was trying to remember which lap it was.
Yeah. And I think she says she picked it up somewhere on the start finish stretch. So on the tarmac, got something, and you could see it. It's like, even if Magley's on a bad day, she's not blowing up in lap 2.
Right.
And I captured that in the video. You can just see her dropping back. She's basically second wheel, and then she's third, fourth, and then she's just off that group completely. And I'm pretty sure everybody in the pit saw it, because you were covering that front. Everybody, they're just winding their way by pit 1 like 2 or 3 times before they actually crossed by it on the beginning of the lap. So she was falling back. Everybody is kind of, that is not Magley, who is in the top 5, has people in there screaming at them that she's pitting, and you can see like Manenbacher just like gets on it, like burns a match, basically passes a few people, goes to the front, and just kind of drags everybody along, because this is the opportunity. And that Bodie is what we love about the sport. That's it. That is 100% part of the sport and what should happen.
Yeah. And I think it was funny because filming, I almost didn't notice it, because the Steve Tilford kits and Magley's kit with like washed out light, like just like it, you couldn't see. I was like, oh, here's Magley. Oh, wait a second. As they come closer, that's 2 Steve Tilford. Then it's like, oh shoot. And I'm happy we reviewed the tape, and it's like, okay, this is all covered. But like, it was funny how we kind of almost missed it at that moment.
I was the same way. They got to Mansion Hill, and I'm like sort of filming away, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait,
yeah,
there's Magley 10 seconds back.
Yeah, so she gets a flat, and I think I think you did a really good job in the breakdown. Sort of, this is, after the fact, you're like, oh wow, we interviewed you, we saw it as it happened, but then you sort of were able to sort of look and sort of we covered her sort of like coming back through the field, and I think we talked to her, and with that interview is on the video, on the recap video, so go check it out. But like, she talked about how Magley always has a really good attitude about these things, and she's kind of mentioned this before, is that this is a like, okay, this is a challenge. I'm gonna accept this, and I'm gonna try to move myself forward. And she talked about how she was really not going to go all in on trying to close that gap immediately, but it was just like small efforts, recover when you can, and just keep going. And we saw that in the footage, and it's kind of exciting to watch her slowly pick off riders until she finally got, up to Manan, who I think might have been suffering a bit from, it's a lot of climbing on Mansion Hill, and as you called it, the power cube, some power sections, and then the ends in a really big power section up the hill. And I think Manon was dragging a bit, trying to sort of like keep that gap. But yeah, I mean, it was, I think, should we talk about the hill and the dismount, your breakdown of that? Because that was really cool.
Yeah, I think, absolutely. And I think it was interesting because that's kind of where Magley was able to catch back on it. And just to go back what you were saying, what she talked about in that interview, which I love, is that David, her husband and coach and partner and all of this, is telling her as she's coming through the pit each time just to relax and just to wait and just don't be impatient. And she's like, I need to go now, and he's like, just take your time. And then she's like, I just need to take my time, as you said. But I think it's worth noting that she's been doing this a long time. We see that's like coaching 101. You can't get it all back at once, right? You're always just like, take your time, get just the incremental steps back up there, and then you'll be ready to fight. And it's all good on paper, but when you're actually doing it, it's a whole different story. And even at the higher level, those athletes are still going through that thought that, oh crap, I need to get all this back right now. And it was cool that even now she's sort of going through that thought process, but was able through that experience to say, okay, no, I need to just slow down and do this at a more reasonable pace. But yeah, it was the thing with Magley there's two parts of this. So what I was able to see, and she did it more than once. She went back and forth a few times. And you may say, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, she's being indecisive on this with her dismount. And what she did is she started the race and she dismounted the way normally most right-handed people and mostly everyone does, is that you dismount on the non-drive side and then you run up. And when you have a feature like this where you're dismounting and then you're getting to the top and it's such a severe off camber that when you remount, you're underneath your bike. So you have to like figure out a spot on there, like run farther or do whatever, or just this really awkward, almost, big hop to get over your saddle and back on your bike. And it's really tough. And so what she did is that she came around the corner at the bottom and did what we call a dirty side dismount, because you're coming off the bike on your drive side. So the potential of getting bike grease all over your leg is much higher, therefore dirty side dismount. So she's coming off there and then going up top. And then when she's up top, she's above her bike. No less awkward, but just easier to get back on and be smooth. And there was a comment in there, which I don't disagree with. He's like, well, I don't know if that was any faster. That's what the commenter said. And I was like, I agree. I don't know either. I didn't put a stopwatch to it. I don't know which is faster. What I love about it was just the experimentation of it.
Right.
Like, this is
smoother.
Yeah, it definitely looks smoother. Definitely like got you into that kick push, but it's like, and it's hard. Even I think on one of those laps, she was smooth there. And then if I had kept the clip going, sort of bobbled it a little later, it's always just going to be a hard section. But what I just like is just sort of going through, knowing that that's there, knowing that I have this opportunity to have two different techniques I can use, and that is in my arsenal. I can pull that out. If I need a dirty side dismount, I can do it here. Did it turn out that it was the best way to do it? I don't know. It didn't hurt. But it's just that opportunity was there. And that's the kind of thing for me, going back to Svennis days and everything else, that's what gets me jazzed. And that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean that's the exciting thing about cross. Kerry Warner asked me what I liked about cross, and that's one of the things, right? The experimentation, the adaptation to different factors, and then adjusting on the fly. Like, okay, that didn't work the first time, or this actually works better. And like, you don't get that in road cycling as much, right? And so cross allows you to sort of like, challenge yourself in that way, tickle the brain, and try different ways during the race and adjust, like I said, on the fly. And I think that we saw that was a tough feature, that left hand uphill, and Monenbacher in the lead kind of stumbled twice there. I mean, a lot of riders stumbled there. It was a really awkward situation. So figuring out the best way you can get through with the least amount of like time loss, it was going to help you out in the end. And, being awkward on the bike and coming off wrong and falling, it also wastes energy, right? So smooth is fast, and fast is saving energy and keeping momentum. So, Magali found a way. She came back. She got to Mana. I think she kind of broke her on one of the climbs to Mansion Hill, and that was kind of it. Held the gap. It was a smaller gap than day one, but she had to come back from farther back. Manon held on to second, and we had Sydney finishing third.
Yeah, I think Raylan in fourth for day 2, which was I think right up there. That was her best result so far. So
Continuing steadily climbing up the leaderboard. Yeah, I think she was stoked on that result. And Lauren Zorner in 5th place.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to this men's category. We had our drama in day 2 for the women, drama in day 1 for the men.
Yeah, I mean, sort of like you said, it was wetter. Looking at the tread, I think Strohmeyer. No, I had Kerry Warner, more of an aggressive mud tread. I don't know for sure. It looked like Brunner was on Griffos once again. I could be wrong. I'm not a super tired geek. And then Brunner, last year this Charm was his first race of the series. I think he lost on day 1 and came back on day 2 and won. We kind of saw that earlier this year in Rochester. Brunner is firing on all cylinders, pushing the pace early. And then I think lap 2 or 3 slides out right before the barriers and goes down. I heard that he slid out there in pre-ride as well. So I don't know if it was the conditions that changed kind of at the beginning and it wasn't quite set up, or just sometimes you fall and that's part of it. But Brunner goes down, and so we it's one of those things where you're filming and you're like, all right, I got to move on to the next shot. And then I'm like, oh, wait, boom, there's Brunner on the ground. And then we see him in the pit. And it's funny because I'm filming the pits and he like goes out of sight and you're like, oh, where'd he go? And then he pops up and I'm like, what was that? I didn't actually realize that was a shoe change, but Brunner goes in the pit, changes shoes.
No, changes shoe.
Change it. Good point. Very well documented in the coverage. Go watch the Charm City CX Day 2. I won't watch all of it, but Bill did a good job of getting those close-ups. What were the color of his shoes, Bill? This is a question that Kerry should have been asking him, but what were the color of his shoes?
Yeah, so I believe he started on white shoes, and then he ended up with one blue shoe and one white shoe for the race. Which I think it's a good look. I think he should. It's a race. I think he should have stuck with it on Sunday.
Didn't Monty also do this? Have 2 different shoes? I believe
there was some. I feel like it was some black and white shoes going on there last season from some folks.
Yeah, so Brunner,
which would have been that would be the thing. Not to like going back to Kerry's whole thing with his white shoes, black socks. I think the move that he talks about in his vlog, I think the move would be what I would propose to Kerry Warner is 1 white shoe, 1 black shoe, 1 white sock, 1 black sock.
Okay, so do you go
just two tone it up? Like,
So
let's skank this thing.
The Ska fans are gonna be happy. You said that. Do you go black shoe, white sock, white shoe, black sock, or do you go black and black, white and white?
Wait, how does that work? What?
Well, you have a one white shoe, one black shoe. So do the socks match the shoes, or the socks?
Oh, I understand. No, I think you go opposite.
Okay.
You go.
I like it.
Black shoe, white sock, white shoe, black sock. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to see that at Trek. So what happens to the rest of the field when Brunner goes down, Bill?
Brunner goes down, and much like we saw with the other, they're smart, they know, and they go, and then it's kind of Strohmeyer just putting in the efforts at the front and was stringing along people for a while, and then just was able to separate and just continue to push the pace to the point, Bodie, that I believe the fastest lap of the race was Strohmeyer's final lap.
Yeah,
when he already had a big lead.
Yeah, which is kind of funny, and we talked to him about that after the race, interviews on YouTube. But we had a really good battle, and we've had all the year. We've had good battles for podium spots, and so we had. Brunner went down, and we talked to him, and you'll hear this in interview on day 2 coverage. But he said he got in his head, and he was kind of angry, and it sort of wasn't in the right mental space. Wasn't like Magali, and sort of just like calmly bringing it back. And so he kind of just suffered. He kind of languished back there, and gosh, he finished in 6th place. But we had.
Can I say one thing really quickly, because I know what you're getting into, but just with Brunner and being angry, we talk about like happy racers or fast racers. This is 2 weeks in a row now that we've had angry Brunner who then wins. Because Rochester, he was like, I crashed in pre-ride. I was kind of pissed off. Yeah. I was not having a good day. And then he just kind of crushed it. And here he was like, I was pissed off. I went down. I came in here angry, and then I won a race. So, angry racers winning racers here.
Well, I would say that he was angry, and then he sort of like reset and realized that he needed to change that mentality. Both times talking to his coach about sort of past experiences, sort of learning from that. So I would say that maybe the anger fuels the sort of ability to get.
So it's anger, then dissipate, and then achieve.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody's philosophy is still valid.
So good battle for a second. We had Jules, Carey, Tofik, and Tyler. These riders we've seen in this spot. A lot of back and forth. Group racing, exciting to cover. For me, exciting for the viewers. At one point, Jules, I don't remember exactly where, but he makes a move, and
I think it started coming out of what I was calling the Oasis, and then by the time he got to the top of pit 2.
Yeah. So Jules attacked, and you know what? We talked to Jules. Let's just listen to him.
Yeah, let's hear from Jules.
Jules, first off, congratulations. But before we get to that, one of my memories of you racing bikes is just the sadness of crashing in the third turn at Charm City a few years ago and watching the whole field go by.
Yeah, I remember that.
How different is this today?
Man, I mean, from being second, I guess then I was last by quite a while on the opposite side of the field as my bike. This is a lot better feeling getting to ride at the front than starting at the back.
Yeah, all season, you've been up there making moves. Today, really stuck with that group, and it was a nice move. I think last lap, maybe 2 to go. But what's your mind? What's your process? Did you feel good? Feel like you could just wait and take your time?
Yeah, I was kind of struggling in the wheels. I felt I wasn't driving super well, letting a little gaps go. So with, I think, 3 to go, started going to the front, trying to put some pressure on, but I couldn't get a gap. And then with a little bit over a lap to go, coming out of the woods, I think I heard my dad say I had a little gap, and so hit it by pit 2. Got maybe 4 or 5 seconds, and then I think just kept it on the gas the last whole lap. And Carey and Tofik were coming, but I was just breathing out of any hole I could find and tried to keep it upright.
C1 elite podium. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. But what does that motivate you to do next?
Yeah, I think just sticking it in the front. I feel like I've been a little timid in the last couple of years. Maybe not feeling like I deserve to be up there. So, yeah, feeling good, attacking, feeling like I belong there, and I think this proves that. And yeah, I feel strong this season, and hoping to just keep making more steps. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun and good result.
Well, you definitely deserve to be there, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I've followed Jules Van Kempen around with a camera for many years. Much back to his days as a junior and from up there. So it was really, really exciting to see him pull off his performance. I know he's been on a podium before. I think Major Taylor, he got on a podium before that, which is awesome. But this is racing with the best in North America, and I think integrating himself into that conversation, which is pretty cool to see. And just kind of like what we talked about in that interview. I mean, one of my memories of Jules, which is not a good one, but it was such just a classic moment of just him sad face on behind the backstop of Charm City after going down in the first turn, and his huge field, and just watching everyone just go by, and then having to resume his race that he was hoping to do well in basically 5 seconds behind this enormous field at 30 seconds into the race. So completely different result this year, and it was really cool to see. And I think that I'm hoping that he gains even more confidence from this, and that we'll continue to see him fighting up there near the front.
And behind him, we had quite a battle between Kerry and Tofik. I mean, so much so that
this is it. This is the battle.
Yeah, we're kind of, sometimes we're texting, briefly when we have a moment between filming. I'm like, go to the finish. I'm going to stay back here to make sure I get all this action. And it was back and forth. I tried to cover as much as I could, but sometimes, they'd come around a corner, and then all of a sudden Tofik was in the lead, and then Kerry tries to make a pass, but Tofik closes the door. And then I think what happened was, right before the flyover, Kerry kind of makes a pass on going up the last flyover to the start finish straight, and gets and I was kind of running and filming. I'm like, this is gonna look shaky and terrible, but I want to make sure I get this coverage, and there was action in there. And so, sorry if it's super shaky, but we want to show this stuff, because this stuff this is why we're doing this, and it's super exciting. And I think Kerry, wily veteran, as we said before, kind of knows all the moves, knows how to do it. And, he's got maybe a little more reserve of power. I think the story on Tofik is massive. He's a wattage bazooka. Doesn't have the technical stuff dialed in yet, but so he has to keep coming back from little hiccups along the way. And maybe Kerry had a little bit more on that last stretch. But, Bill, we talked to Tofik, so let's just go to that.
Yeah. We've been getting requests to talk to Tofik. Just such a, I think we knew him because we saw him the last couple of years, but I think a lot of people are like, who's that guy up there?
Yeah.
So let's chat with Tofik.
I know we've chatted about this before, but everybody else keeps asking, so I'm going to ask you. Give me proper pronunciation of your name.
I have no idea. It's Tofik. My mom says it different. My dad says it different. It's more about where you're from and your accent. So anything with Tofik, it doesn't really matter. Yep.
Awesome. All right. Great job racing out here this weekend, and actually the whole series. Just, even to start, what's it been like just moving up to this UCI elite category, racing for 60 minutes, racing against these fast guys?
Yeah. I honestly I don't see a difference. I mean, I kind of cramp, but that's more about the bike fit, and you just need to get that set. There's no difference. People say there is, but for me, I've been mentally practicing for it. So yeah, I don't think there's a difference.
Yesterday, Saturday's race at Charm City, 4th place, best finish of the year so far. Just talk us through that battle. It was really fun to watch, and it looked like you were going to get dropped a couple times and just fighting back the whole way.
Yeah. First of all, I had a good start. So that was a big change because, usually before that I was fighting for like 2-3 laps to get on the front. And yesterday I didn't. So I'm really lucky and happy for that. I just let everybody do their thing. There was a group of 4 of us, and I like to sit in the back, watch how everyone races, whether they're like comfortable at a certain spot or not, so that I can use that as my advantage and just, let them do their thing and just follow. And I like to save my energy. And yeah, so that's what happened. And there was a little tumble yesterday, so I kind of lost some time and I had to chase back. Fortunately, Bruno also lost time, so he kind of helped me pace a little bit, but then he went to the pit and I attacked that. I took that chance, slowly got back, and I had a great race, fought Kerry for a couple of like corners, I was just speeding all out for the corners, but he's more experienced and just kept dive bombing me like 3-4 times, and I started feeling the cramps, and I need to work on that. And at the sprint, I just like 3-4 meters before the line, I just couldn't do it anymore. So I just like let him take it. Yeah.
Yeah, Roanoke and now Charm City. You're gonna have to work on your "How do I beat Kerry Werner" plan.
Yeah. At this point, he's just mocking me. So I definitely need to work on that. Yeah.
So you don't race U.S. nationals. So what's the, kind of your goal for the rest of the season? What is at the end of it? What are you trying to achieve?
I know I can't like go to Europe, do Pan Ams, all that, but my goal is just I want to win 2 UCI races. I just want to win a race, and it went from 3 to 2, but yeah, I definitely want to win a race, not U23, because that doesn't mean nothing to me. Like, I know I can do it. I'm just fighting with I got to get Kerry, Strohmeyer, and all those guys, and I want to win a race. So yeah, that's my goal this season, and to do all the UCI races in the country, and that's all I can do. So yeah, hopefully get some first places this year.
What do you think's the thing that you're going to work on to try to move up to get on that podium?
Ooh, that's a great question. I need to work on being patient. Like today, everything went wrong and I wasn't ready for it. I was just really anxious and kind of fumbled everything. So that's one thing. It was a great day because I learned a lot. I learned more than I thought I was gonna learn. So I'm happy I made those mistakes because I made mistakes now instead of being later in the season. So being more patient. One of the biggest things I learned today is everything will go wrong. It's how you react to it, not, oh, something will go wrong. So yeah, just being patient and being smooth. And I'm definitely strong. I need to work on my skills a little more, letting people do their thing and doing my own thing, and not worrying about, oh, he's catching me, or like I'm getting dropped or something. So kids get dropped, and opening a little more gap. And yeah, just being more patient. That's the biggest thing I need to learn, and skills here and there. Yep.
Fantastic. Well, it's been great watching you so far. Congratulations, and keep it rolling.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Just one of the things that like resonates with me in this conversation with Tofik is just that he's kind of got this attitude that we saw with Magali, even with Nico, this idea that these challenges that happen, they're not like, they are setbacks, but like your mental state, you don't have to get negative with it. You just have to like, hey, I failed, and what can I learn from this? Like, and so Tofik is like not down about his sort of like his technical skills not being there with the top guys, but he's like, he knows that they're coming and he's going to work on them, and they're just opportunities for him to learn and grow. And I think that like, man, like, I mean, people have been saying this in the comments. I think we agree, like the podium is coming soon. And I mean, I could see him winning a race this year. Like,
yeah. And that's his goal, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think
I think the cool thing too, talking with him, and we saw this from Nico as well, is just the rational confidence. Sometimes we get these riders, who have like irrational confidence. They're like, oh yeah, I should be winning a world championship. It's like, well, maybe not yet. Maybe someday, sure, but now it doesn't. But with him, he's like, we're talking about I think the conventional wisdom coming up from a junior race into a elite race that's much, I mean, it's 20 minutes longer for the men, and just how the end of that race is going to be tough. And he's like, that's not the case for me. I know everybody keeps telling me that that's supposed to be it, but I don't think that's it for me. I think it's more, just having, as you said, having to improve those skills and, get better technique, and then being able, once he does that, the rest of the talent he already has will just fall into place. I mean, the guy's put in the work too. He's out there racing every weekend, be it an amateur race or a UCI race. So, really, really cool to see him just make that jump from the juniors up to now U23s, and being able to get into that chase group and just go. Now, I mean, we talk about bulletin board material. He should just he needs a big photo of Kenny in the wig.
Yeah,
and just put that up on the wall and stare at it.
Yeah, with the crosshairs.
Yeah. All right. So day one, Strohmeyer wins. We come back for day two. We got at first angry, but then peaceful and fast Eric Brunner taking full advantage of the day two power cube.
Power cube, that's great.
I think if you look at his profile of what he can do, having just all of these opportunities to just ramp it up and go, I'm sure he was more than happy to do that, and he did that. He did exactly that, and he just was able to. Strohmeyer and Brunner going back and forth as we've seen every week, but he got to he even got to the first section of the power cube and just put in this attack that was just ruthless and just didn't end.
Yeah, and that was kind of the story of the race, right? He just kept pushing, just stretched it out big time, and just guys were falling off, and until it was him and Stroh. I mean, at one point they both attacked kind of up the hill, and then the elastic step to Strohmeyer, and it was Brunner solo, and it was Stroh just kind of on his own in second. But once again, another good battle for the podium back there. We had Carey, Jules, Tyler. Tofik, not a great day. I think there were some technical issues with his bike. He mentioned that in the footage, there is a moment where he comes to the pit, and I heard him yell, "Lower the saddle." Don't know exactly what that was all about, but I know that was relevant, or it was apparent in the footage that he was just not able to be in that front group, and
I think that's part of it. It's new equipment still, and it's just trying to dial in what's best, and you want to do that throughout the season. I mean, you have things that work better in cyclocross, but we all know this. You go and try it in and it's fine when you're practicing. You get in your race, you're like, man, this isn't set up the way I need it to be set up to be able to go fast for now. Maybe it's not 100% correct, but let's put it back to where I'm comfortable and I know I can perform, and then just go through those gradations to make the changes. You know it from golf. I mean, that right? It's like, let's just go back to what I know.
Yeah.
Even though it's not, the correct way, but it's gonna keep me in the fairways versus the correct way that's gonna be out of bounds.
Until you learn, and that's
right.
Hard.
And then
that's
eventually,
the hard part.
And it's just that that progression. But yeah, I think the one thing, I may have pointed this out before, but I think the one other thing that is worth mentioning about the Strohmeyer Brunner battle is that we usually break it down skills and explosiveness versus just raw power. I think that Brunner at Charm City does better on the trickiest part of the course, which is that Mansion Hill off camber, than Strohmeyer does. It's just because it's interesting too, because he's a taller guy, which you think would lead to more issues. I don't know what his cranks are. If he's on those little cranks, it may help, because the problem up there is that it's pedal strike on the high side all the time, and that's why you see a lot of people with their right leg out pushing and doing the push kick across there, because if you're just pedaling, you can pedal strike, and then that just knocks you down off the feature, and you have to. I think Strohmeyer did that once where he had to save it and come back, and that loses time. So Eric Bruner is not just a power machine. He's got those technical skills too. Maybe it's a tick below what Strohmeyer has in certain parts, but it's not like it's bad, Bodie. I mean, he's a good technical rider.
No. Yeah, Bruner is a fantastic cyclocross racer, and sometimes maybe it's just that he goes up to Mansion Hill and he can ramp it up a little bit higher than Stroh can. So when he gets the technical feature, he's not quite in the box. Maybe Stroh's a little more in the box, a little more blood, out of the head, and it's like harder to sort of do some of those little like fine, motor skill things. And then once Stroh recovers, he kind of can rip everything he needs to. So. Yeah, Bruner is showing us that he is, just what's the lesson learned from this weekend is that Bruner is on point right now. He's super on form, and going into, if we want to talk about the series standings, going into Trek,
day one they were holding serve until day one. And with Strohmeyer winning and Bruner not getting second, that's the first gap that we see in this series.
Yeah. And so Stroh's at 246, Bruner's at 234. But if Bruner goes and wins both day at Trek, then he wins the series.
Right.
Even with his sixth place on day one, he wins the overall series. So that battle's not over.
Which is I don't know if that would have been the case with the old scoring system. So kudos to Scott Page and USCX for
good point
refiguring the points so that we have this excitement going into the last weekend.
Yeah, and but here's the thing: we've always seen incidents each weekend. There's something happens. So it's like what I was saying earlier. Bruner could have an issue and he could not win the series, and as we talk to him, it's not huge. He's
not worried about it.
It's day by day. It's race by race. But that's part of cross, right? So it's not like, oh, well, Bruner would have won had he not got a flat. It's like, no. The flat is part of the event. That's part of cross. And that's just how it worked out in your favor. So yeah, it's not completely over for first and second. I think, and just to kind of go back to day two, we had another good battle at the end. Once again, the race was going until the end. Tyler, Jules, Carey, at one point, a lot of lead changes. Tyler eventually drops off, but the last time up Mansion Hill, which was awesome to watch and film, you want to get to that first corner first, and Jules is on the outside and Carey's on the inside, and they don't shoot to the hill and turn right. Carey shoots up the hill and just pushes Jules so high up the hill that he can't come around Carey. And that was kind of the move. And, I think Jules mentioned that in the interview, and, just kind of like you had to be there first, and he was able to do it. And that was the move. Takes him high, takes all the way to win. So Carey gets third in that race behind Strohmeyer. But another good battle. And, Werner had mentioned that he's got to stop letting Tyler beat him on day one, which is worth more points. And if we look at the series, Carey's in third, and he's got a 10-point gap over Tyler. So, that
did what he wanted to do. He beat
exactly.
Canada.
So he could, but it's still not over for the podium spot. Tyler could finish ahead of both days, and Carey could have an issue, and he could take third. We have Tyler.
And Jules is right there, nipping at Tyler's heels, only 4 points back. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of good fights to have in the men's race in the series.
All right. We are running out of time, so we should just blast through these IG questions. The first one, I think, goes right into the conversation that we are having right now, or that I was talking about, just with skills of Bruner and Strohmeyer. The one place Strohmeyer definitely has an advantage of that, he can just fly through barriers and planks no matter how they're set up. And I think that he even here's the question that we got from Ryan Popple, who had a great race out there as well. Were the barriers regulation day two of Charm so close and tall? And it's kind of funny, Bodie, because we we were like, we need to go get Manin and Aryan to come out here and measure these because we're not sure. It'd be interesting to see. We saw a little gap under there, you know.
Yeah. There was a gap. Yeah, they looked big, and because we set up the camera in front of the barriers on day 2, and I was like, huh, those look a little big, but I don't know. So my question to you, Bill, is do we hear that the UCI commissaires walk the like? Do they literally on day 2 go and walk the course, like, and just check do they measure everything? Do they go with this like, hey, it's 3 meters wide every section? Like, does that actually happen?
I think that it's more of a trust but verify, where if something doesn't look right, they'll check it, but they're not out there like, you know, measuring the whole way. And it depends on who's in charge that weekend. You know, some judges are tougher than others, and like, I think on par, the U.S. Commissaires are much stricter than the European Commissaires, where you see stuff that I think they're just like, we're here to have a cyclocross race. We know what that looks like. Let's go do it. And you look at some of the stuff, you're like, huh, not sure that's really how things are supposed to be set up, but it works for them. They've been doing it for years, and no one's going to question it. Here, where I think we just feel like there's just the letter of the law seems to be enforced more, which is fine. I mean, it's kind of like referees and umpires. You know, if you know what they're going to do, that's fine. You work within that. So that's kind of it. And I don't know, but as I was saying, I think Strohmeyer was fine with them being higher and closer together, because that gave him the opportunity to not have to dismount, where I think many of the field who are more than capable of riding the planks dismounted.
I noticed that. I thought that was interesting. I was actually kind of want to ask, like, Carrie, like, you weren't hopping, why? And then maybe it's because they were really high and shorts close together.
How has the USCX played out as an event compared to the past 5 or so years? Luke W. spams. I don't know. I think we sort of covered this. You know, I think that as far as the competition goes, it's been great. I think that we have some good. Look, we were going to come on here and talk for 45 minutes. We're at 58 minutes. You know, I mean, there are definitely storylines worth talking about.
Yeah, just on the, like we said earlier, just to, like, the point system, like we say, we're coming into the last week and it's not completely over. So I think that's worked out well. I think it's been great. I think it's improved.
All right, kind of playing off that last question, just about what the USCX has been like compared to the past years. Next one, I mean, this is kind of the thing we keep coming back to, Bodie. What have the fan vibes been like? Seemed like Baltimore had a lot of open seats. I think Saturday. Here's one of the phenomenons that I think I've seen here. I think we're getting decent crowds. I think Saturday seems to be better than Sunday for the elite races, especially with people who are traveling. So, not to throw any shade on it, but you could see, like, the club row that was jam-packed with people. Everybody was out there partying. It was a really fun environment when everybody came through there. You know, that's where you got your biggest cheers. That's on the sort of that little off camber that then turns around on day 2 and was the planks. And it was a really good vibe. But by the men's race, it was kind of empty. And I think that people are getting ready to go home because it's late on Sunday, and especially if they're from out of town. I don't know what the solution to that is. It may be, I know this is something that's been discussed before about putting the amateur races after the elite races, which I think I'm fine with. I think as long as you keep that order that we talked about before, you can do it whenever you want in the day. You can have races afterwards. But I think that it does a disservice to a lot of these junior races. And I get it. I got kids. I know how it goes. But that they're packing up and going before getting the opportunity to watch the elite races. If you are a junior racer, or if you're even a UCI junior racer, you need to be seeing what the top racers are out there. You need to see, I mean, kids, boys, girls, whatever. You need to watch Magli Rochette. You need to watch Eric Bruner and Andrew Strohmeyer, Manon Bakker. That's where you get experience from racing, but you get just as much experience from watching them race and going, oh, I was trying to do something much harder in that section. They actually simplified it because I thought it was cool to do, this line, but they're like, no, just do the easy line and they're much faster. It's that kind of things that you're really good to pick up that I think coaches out there with these junior racers can do. But I get it. I get that you need to pack up and go. I understand. You don't have to write angry emails about school and stuff. I completely get it. I know. But at the same time, I just think that that's part of the reason that you see in our videos and you're like, wow, nobody's there. They're like, well, at 10 a.m.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
And it's just a question of timing. So maybe that's something that we can address at the bigger level for these UCI races and maybe make them earlier in the day. Okay. All right, Bodie, how good will Brunner and Strohmeyer be in Europe? That's
good
the part.
Good question. I don't know that we've seen either of them go over there and have the results that they've had even at international competition here in the States. Brunner fourth at a World Cup at Fayetteville was a standout ride. I know Brunner last year got sick. I mean, it hasn't translated. So I don't know exactly what it is for them that has been complicated this going to Europe, but I know that's hard to do that. So I'd like to see them. What I'd like is I'd like them to go there and be healthy and have good races and results be what they may, but it'd be cool to have them say hey, I gave it my all. I was 100%. I had a good race.
Yeah. And Strohmeyer sick also yesterday. He didn't race Worlds.
Yeah.
But when he was there, and he got sick kind of early, but when he was there, and this is first year in the elites, remember Strohmeyer was sitting second wheel at World Championships as a U23 and crashed, and it was a huge bummer, in Czech Republic, and that was kind of he was ready to go, and that could have been a defining moment. It wasn't. It's fine. It's you move on, but he was definitely in the mix. And then what he did race last year, he was 17th at Dublin. It's a top 20 in a really tough field. He was 19th at Holst, even a tougher field.
23rd at Diegem. That's
a good
placing in that race.
It's just a nuts race. So yeah. I think and that's first year elite. So in the mix. So if we get healthy Brunner, we get healthy Strohmeyer, I don't think it's out of the question to see them mixing it up in the
top 15
first group. Yeah.
I think that'd be a great result
with
for them.
Possibilities for more, but I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are all our questions, Bodie.
Yeah.
You got to get to work.
I got to get to work. I'm going to drop one song on you, Bill.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And it's you said that I was listening to all these cool bands and all this stuff. So I'm going to go against that. And I'm going to say Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue.
Whoa. Oh, okay. That I was not expecting that we were going there.
Yeah, we got I'm going to give you another one. I'm going to give you another one, same vein. I'm the One by Van Halen.
All right. I'm just gonna add one song.
Okay.
Just one song. And this is like an easy entry into this band, and then has now been brought up online and also in the comments. And that is Phaser by Quicksand.
Okay. Yeah.
We did it, guys. We did it.
Yeah,
Quicksand on the list.
I went and listened.
We're gonna have to
song.
once this list is post Wisconsin.
Yeah.
What we'll have to do, maybe next week we'll do this, is that we're going to have to go in and look at the list, and we're going to have to spend some time reconfiguring it, making it into that progression that we were talking
an actual
about.
Playlist that flows. Yeah, I like that.
Yep. All right. Sweet. All right. Yeah. So you and I are going to be rendezvousing early morning in O'Hare Airport tomorrow, and then we're going to be driving to the Greater Madison, Wisconsin area, and checking out a weekend of cyclocross racing in Waterloo, Wisconsin, at Trek headquarters for the final round of the Trek US CX series. And as Bodie already committed us to, we will also have some rider profile interviews that you heard in this episode, but we're going to produce them with clips and everything else and have those up on the site as well.
Yeah, I got to say this podcast has lit the stoke for another weekend. I'm excited to go to Trek Cup. Always a good vibe there. They do a good job of putting on the event. A lot of fun things that happen. It was my first sort of UCI race that I took photos of outside of nationals. So it's not a homecoming, but sort of a homecoming. I know we'll be seeing some CX friends there. Hopefully we'll see our good pal, Zach Schuster, as well. So yeah, Bill, I'll see you at O'Hare bright and early. Let's get a hot dog at the airport before we leave.
Okay, only if they have vegetarian hot dogs. But I'm with you on that. And hey, if you're watching the video and you see that, I may have a few of those with me. So if you want a CXTV hat,
Nice.
come and find us. All right, talk to y'all soon.